Hi, my name is Christopher Spencer, and I'm just going to go over some things in my life and talk about trauma, and hopefully this will be cathartic and healing for someone seeing it. It's stuff I never really talked about to anybody, so bear with me. When I was a kid, when I was a child, my mom and dad used to fight a lot, verbally and physically. Um, and my dad would get physical with my brother and I too, like just come at us screaming and like pick me up and throw me into something, and you know we lived on a cattle ranch. He'd throw me into a barbed wire fence, or I didn't get the cows to move a certain way. He'd pick me up and throw me in the cows, and they'd run me over. Fly me, and usually we would, when me and my brother saw this stuff going on, we would run because we already knew what was coming. And they'd fight in the house, and it would get so loud. Like one instance, we were, we would sit down to eat, and then this is an example. Like my mom would, have a spoon in a bowl and just start screaming at my dad and breaking the dishes, and he'd hit her, and we'd do things like show up to my grandparents' house for Thanksgiving, and she'd have a black eye, and we're all sitting at the table, and my grandfather would have words with my dad, and he would, you know, he'd hit me and my brother too, and this went on until they got a divorce when I was in about third grade. Um, and I went to live with my mom, and she had a lot of residual effect from that. I remember one time I was, well, me and my brother, we used to go hide behind this chair. I just want to let you know, like when they would start fighting, and we would hide behind there, and peek around it. It was in a corner of a room they didn't really go in, but we could see into other rooms, and we would see them, like walking by, just like possessed, storming, like going to fight again and all this stuff, and we would sit back there, and they never found us behind that chair. My dad never found us behind that chair, so that was like our spot, and they would kind of forget about us in the fight of it all, and it was really physically, emotionally, and verbally abusive. But they did get a divorce, like I said, and like I said, I was living with my mom, and I remember I had never seen her be like this, but this one time I was making a fire. I was in like third grade, and I put the paper in there and the wood and everything, and it didn't light right away, and she started screaming at me. Just I never heard her scream like that, and she wouldn't stop, and I was like crying, and she kept doing it and screaming and yelling at me and cussing me, telling me I was worthless, and I knew at that point something was different with my mom. Um, she had never been like that before, and just I remember sitting in that moment and continuing to hear her berate me and yell at me, and I was like, "Is it over yet?" And no, she kept going and kept going and kept going, and she was like that after that from then on, I guess, from the abuse, and she would, cuss me and my brothers, and she would hit us, but she was little, so it didn't really hurt like what my dad did. So like, she would usually just yell at us and make mean faces, cuss at us. She could be like, you shitheads, you F words. Like she would, you're worthless, things like that. And, you know, when she got remarried to my stepfather, things got better. They were better for a while because he was really stable. And in high school, things were good. My 3 years of high school were really with him. We moved to a new place and things were good. But she would still do those things, and she would do it to him too. And and then she would like, after all that, later on in life, like I'd go visit her or whatever, like, and she would like abandon me, or she would abandon me at times when I was younger, and even when I was older, I'd go visit her, and she would like kick me out of the car in the middle of a place I didn't know, like after flying across the country to go see her, she would still do stuff like that. So to this day, we don't. We she moved somewhere and changed her phone number, and I don't have contact with her. My dad, we're doing well now, but after all that, I did get married, um, and all this stuff. I never really talked to anyone. It really made me. I had low self esteem. I was quiet. Um, I never shared this with anyone, so it's kind of difficult even sharing now. But you know, people didn't know about this stuff. I mean, some people did when they see the marks and stuff, but we would, you know, I, I I did some things that helped. Like I got into lifting weights and playing sports and stuff like that. But it affected me mentally. Um, like I said, I had low self esteem, and then I got into a relationship with this girl in college, and um, probably from low self esteem, and you know, she did the same things to me. Like um, she would do abusive things to me as well, like verbally or neglectful, or um, she'd cheat on me, and I'd get back with her, and I shouldn't have. Even with my best friend one time, and it was just like the worst thing ever to lose my best friend and my girlfriend. But later on, I got back with her, and we got married, and I think that's why I stayed in that relationship, because of I was used to being treated like that, and I allowed myself to be treated like that because of these things, and things that were said to me, spoken over me. Um, you know, my my dad, like he didn't even refer to me and my brother with our names. He just called us two boys, and we were just like his workers. He didn't really teach us things. He would just like have us work, and mess something. If something messed up, we would get it. Um, and um, yeah, it was really hard for me. So eventually, um, I started drinking at the end of my marriage. Like the last 2 years of it, I was married 10 years. I knew my wife was cheating on me, but I didn't know exactly what was going on. I was working 7 days a week, two jobs, just trying to hold things together. And like that last year, I started drinking a lot. We got a divorce. I divorced her, and I, I I kept drinking. I kept drinking so much after we were divorced that I even ended up homeless, and I would eat out of trash cans. And I know this was from low self-esteem and low self-worth. I did that for 3 years, and just stayed away from everybody. I didn't talk to anybody, um, and that's how I lived. I'd walk around the streets, and I kind of, I knew which trash cans to go to at what time, and that's how much I felt about myself. I felt just worthless. Um, I didn't take care of myself that well, um, and and then I eventually got into an altercation. I guess a security guard kicked me when I was sitting on the ground at the mall, and I punched him and knocked him out, and I went to jail for that for over a year. Then I got out, and I got sober. Um, I got off of drinking. I got into drugs too when I was on the street, and from low self worth. Um, and Then I was okay for a few years. And my mom wanted me to come visit her. And it's funny because she had abandoned me in a lot of situations, and I never really put it together till just lately in life. And so I went to go visit her, and I was there like a week. She wanted me to come live with her, and she was apologizing for so many things. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're forgiven. It's okay. And I'd even just got an offer for a really good job here, making money that I had never made before, from a good friend at church. And she just, you know, she begged me, and she's like, I really need someone in my life. She didn't have anyone, and so I went out there, and the first week I was there, she started berating me and doing all this over again. And I didn't see it coming, but I should have from the patterns. I mean, this had happened multiple times in my life. And she put me out of a vehicle in the middle of a city that I didn't know. And I had to do things, I'd done so much to move over there and get everything cleared up, and, with my, where I was living, and, I was in a contract for, apartment, all kind of stuff. But anyway, so I was over there, and she put me out of the vehicle, yelling at me. She'd been yelling at me for about a day straight. And I remember I called my dad, and he laughed at me. We're okay now, but it was just like, he's like, I told you, And I started drinking again. Some other things happened, and I started drinking again. I came back to back here to Hawaii, and my drinking, I ended up on the street again. And the good thing about that is I didn't have money, so a lot of times I wouldn't be able to drink. I would just eat out of trash cans and bum cigarettes and smoke cigarettes. And I sorry, it's really hard for me. And I ended up getting in a few altercations, and then one of them landed me in jail again. And I was in jail for about 7 months. And I got out, and I came to a rehab facility. I got cleaned up, and they offered me a job in the office, and now I'm working in the office. I didn't bring this up much, but it was turning to my Savior Jesus Christ and following Him. I read the Bible a lot in jail, both times, and I started attending a church and going to men's meetings and Celebrate Recovery and discipleship groups and volunteering at the church and these sort of things. And that's what brought me out of all of that. And then learning my worth in God and knowing that I'm a child of God, heir to the throne, that self-worth is what keeps me out of going back there. And now I truly understand who I am. I understand my identity. It's in Jesus Christ. And that has made all the difference in my life, and it will make the difference in this life and the one to come. So without God in my life, I would return to the same things again. And that last time when I went and saw my mom and I went through that and I relapsed, I'm not doing that again. I'm not going to turn away from God this time. And I know as long as I stay with Him and stay in the shadow of the Almighty and under His wings, that I'm going to be okay. And I know who I am. And my dad and I have a relationship now. And we both have the same Father, and that is Jesus Christ, God Almighty. So he's my dad and my brother now too, so we're doing good. I don't have any communication with my brother. He doesn't talk to anyone except my dad. He doesn't talk to my mom or me. My mom doesn't talk to any of us. And but I said, like, me and my dad have a relationship, and I'm grateful. Even like my brother's he's a multimillionaire, but he doesn't have God, and I feel like I'm concerned for him. Because he's going through a lot, and he's chosen a lifestyle that can be detrimental to him as well. And I know it's from the pain and the resentment and holding on to all those things which I've let go. And going through all that, finding the Lord, it was all worth it. I wouldn't want to go through any of it again, but if that's what it took for me to look to the Lord, I appreciate it all. I don't have to go through it again. And my future is as bright as it can be in this life and in the one to come, because I have God, and that's the difference.